The need for affordable housing is apparent in rural communities, something that Senator Tina Smith highlighted in a visit to St. Peter today. KEYC News Now's Randall Gim reports.
St. Peter resident Lisa Gallegos welcomed a special visitor to her apartment today. Senator Tina Smith dropped by Maplewood Apartments to speak about the increased need for affordable housing in rural areas, a message Gallegos appreciates.
Sometimes I feel like I don't deserve it, but then when the senator comes in and tells you, yes, you do, that's amazing to hear that.
We have somewhere between 3.5 and 7 million units short we are of housing for people.
Senator Smith wrote the Rural Housing Service Reform Act, which aims to preserve affordable homes in small towns. She says the bill will help maintain places like the Maplewood Apartments.
And that's especially acute for folks that are working in low-wage jobs or are retired or on a fixed income and just can't afford how much it costs to pay rent.
Gallegos is on a fixed income through disability, and this place gives her room to work with her pocketbook.
Knowing how affordable this is, it actually gives me a little space because I have no furniture, as you can see. I'll be able to save up for furniture.
Smith knows spaces like this are limited. To make more options available, it takes public support and some.
The expense of renovating and constructing new units, and that's about a shortage of people to do the work, and it's about the increasing cost of the materials that you need.
Although finding an apartment like Gallegos isn't guaranteed, she encourages people to try.
If you're needing it, seek it out because there's always somebody that's going to open a door for you.
Smith is continuing to spread the word of the need for affordable housing so more people can feel the security of a home like Gallegos. In St. Peter, Randall Gim, KEYC News Now.
Senator Smith says in Washington there's a lot of disagreement, but she says on issues like affordable housing, lawmakers have shown they can work together on possible solutions. The Road to Housing Act of 2025 passed through a Senate committee unanimously by a vote of 24 to nothing.